All right, so we're back. The Creative Villain Studio, Creative Corner.
In the lab.
Yep. It's like what I was talking to Keys about too though. I feel like this is like the weirdest part about making content is like when you're like, "What's up, guys?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's what makes it like harder to do it. You know what I mean? Like it makes it like
Exactly.
inauthentic in a way or something.
Yeah.
Do you be like making a lot of content?
Um, like I said earlier, man, I think we're really trying to get into it now because it's so important. But for a long time, I preferred to just be behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why I chose the route of like producing, writing, engineering. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just kind of the role that I think suited me best.
Yeah. Well, I saw what I liked though on your Instagram for sure is that the content you chose to do was different. You know, like it was sort of unique in the studio stores.
Yeah.
You know how you like a lot of people will just be like, this is how our comp works. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
like something like that. But like you're finding your own lane in it. You know, which I think that's cool because
Bro,
like
I
you don't
appreciate
see
you
every
picking up
engineer
on that,
doing
man,
it.
because I think that was something that I really sat down and like tried to figure out. You know what I mean? Like, okay,
Yeah.
like you said, if I'm gonna post content, like I gotta figure out how to be different. Like, I mean, my guy Wavy Wayne has the edits and quick tips on lock. Like, I can
Yeah.
do that from time to time, but I did start to realize, like, after just shooting the shit after sessions, like, okay, some of these stories like need to be
Yeah.
recorded, like not the ones that are gonna incriminate anybody or make you lose your job, but you know anything that I feel like we could kind of talk about. I was like, okay, let's figure it out.
Yeah. And I mean, it helps other engineers too. But also, like that's what's crazy too about now is like if you had been live streaming all your sessions for like the last 10 years or whatever, I mean, technically you could end up like you could have been like one of the biggest live streamers in a way too because not only are you like working like a video game in some ways,
Yeah,
but the sessions are lit too. So it's like, like if you could capture some of those moments, you might as well like kind of like monetize it in a way,
man.
because like in today's world that's like what they would have done, is like be streaming like all the time or
Yeah,
whatever.
one of my homies has been on my head about. I think it's called Kick.
Oh
Kick.
yeah, the new
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He's been on me
it
about
pays
Kick,
you like so
Twitch.
much
Yeah,
per hour even if you don't get a lot of views, I think, or something.
yeah, man. I'm gonna try to figure it out because everybody's been telling me the same thing. Like, bro, y'all are in here every day. You know what I'm saying? Cutting references, making beats. Like,
Yeah.
you might as well just pull the camera out and go live.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know Wavy Wayne at all, but I could tell just from today he's organized. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because that's the hardest part. Even with this, like, we film the podcast, but then you got to edit it, and then even if you get it like edited and posted, that's like 1/10 of the battle. Because really you got to do the clips and be able to post those in the right places, the right
yeah,
discords. You know the different areas, to where you can like grow it or
yeah.
whatever.
It's bro. It's
But
a
if you're
whole
doing
like
this full time as an engineer, then it's a whole other job. You
it
know what I
is,
mean?
man, and that's why like lately I've been trying to bring people on board to help me with certain things. You know what I'm saying? Because I realize we can't wear every hat.
Yeah.
So we've tried to put together like a little social media marketing team that's gonna kind of help us take this footage and, like you said, put it in the right spaces, help us throw a couple ads behind it. Just do the things that we may know how to do, but don't always have the time to focus on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because it definitely does like take a team in that way. Even with artists, the same way. Like you can make the song and post it, but really you end up kind of needing a team once you get to like the level of where you have too much to do in one day.
Yeah,
Because there's only
man.
24 hours.
I think at this point, that's the only way I'm working with an indie artist. Like I need to see what's gonna happen after we record the song. Like, what's the game plan? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we can all sit in here and make dope music all day,
No, I
but the
feel that.
difference is the artists who really have a game plan and know, like, okay, I want to attack these markets. This is my marketing budget. Even if you're an indie artist and you only got $500,
Yeah.
that's better than nothing. That's a starting point.
Right. And they have a business with it too, right? Because it's like a label for sure. We've been talking about this, but like a label won't invest in you unless they're investing like in your business.
Yeah,
Like they're not just gonna give somebody $1 million and be like, now let's go to school, and like figure
yeah.
out how to do it. Like they want you to be making money so that they can just bump it up a level to make more money off of the business.
Man, I think over time, just being in the industry, I think I started to learn and realize like And I mean, it's kind of cliche at this point, but a label is really like a bank. You know what I mean? Like, they are literally giving you a business loan. So it's almost like everything, the same things that you would walk into a bank with if you were just a regular guy trying to get a loan with a business plan. That's pretty much the same thing a label's looking at when it comes to your team, your streams, like everything that you bring to the table that can make this process as profitable as possible. You know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, I already see right now, like, if you got your own producers, you got your own, like, photographer, you know what I mean?
Right.
You have all these things in place. By the time we come in, all we really got to do is push the button on the other side.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got your own engineer. You know where you like to record. Like, all these things are already in place. So by the time we step in, all we got to do is, okay, let's make sure, you know, she got the big billboard in Times Square or whatever it may take to get more eyes on it.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And yeah, and literally the labels and stuff that my bad, you know, it's been a long day and shit.
No, it's good.
But and we're new to the podcasting stuff too, so this part will probably be edited out. But yeah, but the labels and stuff, it's definitely like interesting, and not that it's the only value, but it's pretty clear that like if you sign with like a distribution label or anything, they're valuing like your market cap based on like how many streams and stuff you're getting, because like they can see that, you know. So it's like you have to like really develop that as like a base. But all right, so before we dive into it, for those that may be seeing this and not know who you are, can we get a little rundown, you know, of some of the big projects you've worked on? And I guess tell them who you are, you know.
Oh, yeah. So I'm Darius 3D Jenkins, one half of Kreative Villains. Man, so I got a lot of different credits because I produce, write, and engineer. So I've worked with a lot of different people. I recorded all of Slaughter King for 21 Savage. That was like his first mixtape. Recorded some stuff for Kodak Black. Did some stuff with Starlito, Step Brothers, Starlito and Don Tripp. Recorded some stuff for Chevy Woods, Young Scooter as a producer. Man, I'm trying to think of everything. As a producer, I've worked with Kanye, The Weeknd, K-Camp, Kiana Lede, Jacquees, just to name a few.
Yeah, just to name a few.
You know, just to name a few, man.
A few of the best-selling artists ever. You know what I mean? but no, that's super dope. And I gotta say, shout out Don Tripp. He was the first like kind of major artist that we worked with too. Going to Memphis and stuff.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah, he was real cool. Yeah, and he was real genuine too. You know, he was like it was a good experience. You know, we got to like meet his family and stuff, like his brother and stuff too. It was cool.
Nah, that's dope, bro. Yeah, man, that was a great session with him and Starlito.
Yeah. So yeah, and we see it on here, but like Step Brothers too. I remember when that shit came out. You know what I mean? Like like at where we're from in Indianapolis, you know, a lot of people would say literally that Don Tripp and Starlito were the best rappers, like the GOATs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro, they was on fire around that time. And the crazy thing is, I remember vividly, like, they recorded that whole project in a day.
You're
like,
lying.
No cap, in a session. Like, bro, I could barely keep up. They were loading the beats up
Start
so
the podcast
fast.
clip. That's crazy.
They were loading the beats so fast, I could barely keep up. Like, and they were so in tune with each other, like.
Just punching in, like line by line?
Like Don Tripp would come out, Starlito would walk in. You know what I'm saying? And it was just back to back. One of them finished, be like, all right, bro, pull the next beat up.
That's wild, though, because they had heli bars, too. Like, it wasn't, like, just, like, saying what it... Like, it sounded like it was written, almost. You know what I mean?
Bruh.
Like, that's crazy. Like just lyrically, you know? Like,
yeah, thinking back, I mean... Maybe they were like jotting shit down, but I think a lot of that just might have came like in the moment, like going in. You know what I'm saying? It might have been like,
well, they might like write something.
Yeah, like a couple, like okay, let me punch in right there. But for the most part, bro, like they was just going back to back. All of those songs were pretty much done in one session, if I recall.
That's wild.
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
That's cool to know. Shoot. All right, so obviously the camera can probably show it right now through the editing, but you know, you got like The Life of Pablo on there. Did you say that was one of the first ones you worked with? Is that what you said earlier today?
That was like the first big one. You know what I'm saying? That was like the first one that came with like plaques and like Grammy nominations and shit. Like I had got like small credits as an engineer, but that was really like my first big, and that was actually a songwriting credit. You know what I'm saying? So that was really my first big one.
That's dope. All right, so take us back. Not the first, like, I mean, that's almost as big as you get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So take us back to before then, to no credits, getting to that first one credit. You know what I mean? Like back to that time. What did it look like?
I can't even remember. I'm trying to think. As far as like engineering credits go, matter of fact, I think it was Cyhi the Prince. That might have been like the first artist I was really just recording like a lot of stuff for. And up until that point, bro, it was just a lot of learning, assisting, and trying to get better, and just preparing for that moment. You know what I'm saying? And making sure like when my time came, when my number got called, I was ready.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of people take that for granted, because I'm not going to cap, man. When you interning, it can be boring as hell. Like, you just pulling up to the studio. Wayne got a video where it's just like him taking out the trash every other day. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all need help with anything? And he's still grabbing the trash every other day. But it's like that one day somebody's not going to show up. You know what I'm saying? Something's going to happen to where, like, they're going to be like, yo, can you do such and such?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, that's either the moment that you take that kind of like shoots you out of here, or, you know, you don't take it and shit, you stay where you are.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. And even with like booking sessions too, it's sort of that way, you know, because like you like either you're gonna do it or you're not. You know, like we have I don't want to talk too much about it specifically or whatever, but like I've seen it, you know, where like you can be like a student in school, you know, but like not have like a clear goal to like make it your career, you know, the same way like you could intern at at somewhere, you know, but like you have to have a clear goal of like, I'm gonna use this internship to get that opportunity. I'm gonna call these other people to come record, you know, or like you know, start building it that way and stuff. And shout out Scotty from yesterday too. He was cool as fuck. He did a good job for us.
Bro. Yeah, that's my guy, bro.
Yeah, but no, we had a good conversation for real, and we had a good talk with him after too, because you know, like I feel like even this is it's obviously like engineering content in a way, which reaches a small market, and then like once we start talking about like, you know, distressors and the attack and release times or something, you know, then it's like only one person tuned in, you know, but I feel like in a way, like you said, he kind of is the target market because he is like an intern, you know, and like, you know, some gems could like really help him end up 2 years from now, who knows? You know what I mean? Like if you go the right path, you know what I'm saying?
Most definitely, man. And I think that's why, like, two things I always push, because I know, like, naturally, a lot of guys just want to come in and produce. Producing is, like, the coolest job. You know what I'm saying? It looks the coolest from the outside. Like, that's what everybody wants to do.
What do you mean by produce? Make beats?
Yeah, like, make beats. Like, people want to make beats or, like, be the one in the studio, like, calling the shots. Like, that's what most people perceive the producer to be. But I feel like, I think before you get to that step, to me, I feel like the two most critical stages, if you're trying to get in the industry, like if you just come from bumblefuck Idaho and you just want to, you know, take over the music industry, I think the quickest way to get in is to intern and engineer. Because interning, like, most places are going to need help. You know what I'm saying? If you're not on some weirdo shit, most places are going to let you come in and take out the trash. Like, they don't care. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like you said, most times, like if you come in with a goal, you'll slowly start to build up. They'll start to give you more tasks, and then next thing you know, you're assisting. And like I said, somebody misses a session, now you're doing the session. But I feel like that's important. And then I think too, even if you're not trying to be like a KY or a Leslie when it comes to engineering, I think just being a producer and having that tool in your bag is important, because there have been a lot of sessions where me or my partner might go to a studio and the engineer don't pull up. Yeah. And this might be, you know, some big shit on the line. It's like, you're not about to blow my opportunity, bro. I don't want to hop in the chair today because I got my producer hat on. But, you know, the fact that you know how to engineer could save the day, bro.
And I know, like, I'm not like an artist, but from doing so many sessions like at the studio, you really hear like what a good beat and bad beat is, you know, and you hear the lines that everybody says every time, you know, like so like you get a better like a perspective on it. You know?
That's what I tell people too, like Scotty, you know what I'm saying? I kind of preach that to him, like, bro, right now, I know you want to make beats, but I think if you just focused on engineering for a year or two, you'd be surprised at how much better of a producer you would become. Because like you said, you just start to like identify the song. You start to know like, okay, this is probably how this should flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You start to recognize what's a good beat, what's a bad beat. And it makes it easier to go home and identify that with your own beats.
Yeah.
Because I felt like at a certain point, bro, I was working with so many amazing producers, man. When I was working at Tree Sound, like, I was blessed to work with Mike Will up close. You know what I'm saying? I'm just seeing, like, the whole eardrummers thing, like, when it really started piping up. Justice League. Obviously, you know, I can't go in and goddamn play the whole string quartet like they do, but just being around that naturally, like, recording it and seeing how it's done and, you know, the whole process behind it. When I'm going home, shit, I'm swinging for the stars. You know what I'm saying? Giving it, like, my best Justice League impression, bro. And it really, like, challenged me to get better. And before you know it, you're making your own shit. And you know what I'm saying? You got your own sound.
And you've learned, you know, you've learned a lot compared to, like, if you were just on your own, you know what I mean?
Facts.
Yeah, no, that's super dope. So where did your, like, production journey start? Like I guess, like, what really came first for you with the music?
I would say naturally, I always wanted to produce. You know what I'm saying? I think when I moved to Atlanta and I was interning, I realized, okay, everybody wants to produce. So that's when I kind of, like, made the pivot. Because when I was at Full Sail, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't really, like, super focused on engineering. You know what I'm saying? I think Wayne was way more focused. Like, he was laser focused. That was his focus from day one. He wanted to be an engineer. I always wanted to be a producer. I just kind of knew, like, okay, if I got this degree, it'll make it easier for me to, like, get into these rooms and these studios. But once I got on, I started realizing, okay, everybody wants to produce, so I got to take a different route. And that's when I started engineering. So I would say, as far as, like, professionally, I think engineering probably, like, happened first. You know.
Were you selling any beats when you wanted to produce? Were you selling any beats, like, at the time?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I was selling beats to indie artists for, like, shit, 50 to 250, just depending on who it was and, you know, what I was going through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, shit, if times were tight, you might get a beat for $50. Like, it just really depended, bruh. But, yeah, I was always, like, selling little beats on the side and working with artists. It was just, when it came to, like, trying to get those placements and shit, it just was not working out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just slow.
Were you, like, what do you think, like, really sped things up? The internship?
Yeah, just being in the room, man. I think that's the most important thing. Yeah. Like, if you're in the room, then you become part of the conversation. And once you become part of the conversation, it's up to you to kind of navigate from there. Yeah. Like, if you're around somebody every day, eventually they're going to be like, man, like, what you want to do? Like, what are your goals? You know what I mean? Yeah. Just naturally. And I feel like at that point, you know, a lot of times, like, that's when you can be honest with an artist. And even if you are an engineer, you'd be surprised at how many times, like, you'll be in a session with an artist and they have no beats. Yeah. And they're going to ask, like, bro, you got beats?
Yeah. No, I say that. That's literally why I mean, like, I had made beats in the past. Yeah. But, like, being an engineer and hearing that, like, every day, I was like, let me cook up for, like, a couple weeks, you know, and, like, exactly. let me learn from some producers and stuff. Because, like, yeah, it's and it goes so hand in hand, you know what I mean? It really does, bro. Like, even when it comes to the mixing or, like, how it all goes together, you know, like, it's a different thing. And when you sell that first beat and then they rap over your beat, that's a good feeling, you know what I mean?
Every time, bro.
Yeah, that's dope.
Every time, man.
Yeah, so Wavy Wayne was your roommate at Full Sail?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Bro, it was crazy, dog. Like, we I want to say we weren't roommates at first. We were just classmates. And then by the time both of our leases were up, we ended up moving in together. But, yeah, it was wild, bro. Like, he kind of tapped in just a little bit earlier, man. But, yo, we was some menaces, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just to keep it light. But, yeah, he kind of tapped on it earlier, man. We actually ended up getting suspended for, like, 6 months.
Damn.
Yeah, it was a whole situation. Like he said, we had made a diss tape, and we kind of aimed it at this one cat in particular. And
that's what I wanted to ask, because I was even then, like, did you diss each individual person, or it was all one person, or it was just everybody got it?
I mean, a lot of people got clips, but one person got more clips than, you know what I'm saying?
Damn. Yeah, are there any copies?
Bro, you know what?
Where's that at?
I don't know, bro. I think Wayne, I want to say he might have sent me like a message with like a picture of it not too long ago. He might have like the last lost copy, bro.
It's probably up to him because you don't want to fall into a lawsuit, but that as an NFT, you know what I mean? That would be fire.
That would be fire.
For like the diehard Wavy seals.
Yeah,
that'd
bro.
be
But
fire.
nah, that's crazy because that's really like, I think that strengthened our bond when we both got kicked out at the same time because obviously like we didn't want to go home. We both knew like, okay, bro, we're going to have to kind of get jobs and figure this shit out until we can get back in school because they stopped financial aid at that point.
And out of your class, how many people are at the level you two are? Do you think like ever?
Man, I'm trying to think. Honestly, I think me and him.
That's crazy.
I think
that's
it's
dope
honestly,
though. That's amazing. And especially seeing today, like the whole Mixnik thing today, that was dope. And,
nah, it really was,
and
bro.
you could tell like, you know, like he said it like the organization and everything, like of setting it up, like it's a lot to do. Like I've done like showcases and stuff, but doing all that, you know, and trying to coordinate like Davey, Sato and shit, like that's some real boss shit to do, you know. Like,
no, it really is, bro.
And it's definitely not easy, you know. Like that's fire, and it went dope. Like all the speakers, you know, like that was awesome.
Nah, that shit flowed smoothly, man. Shout out to Wavy and Mixnik.
Hell yeah, no, that's dope. So then, when did you start? Like from there, when things like picked up at the studio or whatever, you said Cyhi was like the first one you really worked with.
Yeah, so when I was interning at Tree Sound, I was working with a lot of different artists, and around that time, like he was working with a particular engineer at the studio. That engineer ended up getting let go, so he just came in one day, and I had already kind of been around. He was familiar with me, you know what I'm saying? So it just so happened that day he was like, "All right, bro, shit, you know, let's do it." And shortly after that, maybe like, I won't say shortly after that, maybe like a year later, I ended up leaving the studio for personal reasons. And when he came back and realized I wasn't there, that's when he reached out and was like, "Yo, we got to figure this out." So up until that point, I think I had probably worked on like 2 or 3 projects, you know what I mean? And those were like actually my first credits. But the thing about that era, man, it was just wild because it was the mixtape era. So a lot of times, you know, you were getting credits, but it
crazy
wasn't
streams
like,
that
you know
didn't
what I mean?
like count. And
exactly. So yeah, bro, I kind of took a couple on the chin, but
it still goes to your credit because like the people buying a beat or like buying your service or whatever, like they know know what you did. You know what I mean?
And I mean, all of it, I felt like, I think anything we're doing in this music shit, we can't get too caught up on like rewards and that type of shit because it's all preparing you for a larger moment. Even if sometimes you don't see the reward in the moment, like everything I was doing then prepared me for now. Even if I didn't necessarily get the financial gain maybe I thought I should have got, I think I see the value in all those moves now.
Yeah, and we didn't really get into it. I know like we don't even like know each other like super well and stuff.
Yeah.
But that like leads me to ask you, you know, like why is it you do it? Because obviously there's some nights as like an engineer and stuff, you're obviously not doing it for the money. You know what I mean? Because like if you were, like you would have fucking been on Wall Street or something. You know, because like there's a lot of like other shit, good and bad, you know, because like there's some sessions, you know, that will like remind you like why you do it, you know. So like studio story time number 1, what session or like what like time in the studio, you know, like really like kind of shows you like why you do it, you know, besides like just the money or like high credit or whatever?
Man, that's a really good question, bro. I probably can't name a particular session. I could probably name like moments or just a feeling more so, but I feel like for me it's always those moments, bro, when I just feel like I'm happy to be here. Like I'm happy to be a part of this moment. I'm happy that I was a part of this record with these people. You know what I'm saying? Those are the moments that I feel like are the most genuine, and that's when I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean? Because like you said, I mean, this shit get tough, bro. Like there are times, you know, when payments are delayed or shit, you might not hear from a client, and you know that could be a large amount of money that you're waiting on. So I think you really do have to like be reminded from time to time of like why you do it outside of like financial gain.
Yeah. What like why do you think that is? Like what really like kind of kept you going like through different times like that? Like was it like hope you would like make it out, or is just like love of like doing it? You know
I
what I
think
mean?
a little bit of both.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely the hope of just being able to make it out, but also just the love of doing it. Like, okay, even if I had a regular job, I would still wake up every day and do this. So why not
Yeah.
figure it out?
Yeah, and the 3D that was at Full Sail kicked out. If he knew what you were doing today, you know, I mean, he would probably be happy as fuck,
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
So
exactly,
it's,
bro.
yeah,
So you can never really take this shit for granted, man. Even on the bad days, it's not so bad. Like I
yeah,
remember times when I was trying to figure out, like, damn, how do people get studios? Now I got my own studio.
yeah.
So it's all a blessing, man. The ups and the downs is just part of the game.
No, that's awesome, and the business of it too is dope. And obviously, we don't have to go like all the way into it of like kind of like how like royalties and like all that like works, because I feel like so many producers and artists and kind of like everybody on the outside like doesn't really know like how the business is, like because everybody's worried about like the art side of it,
Yeah.
of like, oh, this is how you make it sound good, but then they don't like know how to sell it.
Facts.
So what like for producers especially, like how do you think is like the best like business model in a way to go about it?
Like selling beats or
Yeah. Like if you had to go back when you were selling the beats or whatever, like what would you tell yourself like to get on as a producer kind of?
shit, that's tough, man. If I was selling beats now, bro, I think content would definitely be key. You know what I'm saying? Social media, and I know that's hella redundant, but that's the game now.
Yeah.
Like BeatStars, SoundClick, all that shit is kind of burnt. Like I think now it's like you gotta really promote yourself and promote your product, because even like the tight beat lane, like that was a thing for a minute, but now even that's getting oversaturated. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just about creativity, bro, especially when you're on like that indie level trying to pitch. And honestly, it just depends on your target market, bro. Like I always tell people, you gotta know like what you're trying to do it for. Like even for artists, like if you want to be as big as Drake, you gotta know it might be 4 or 5 hands in that pot. You could make a lot of money, but a lot of people are gonna make money off you. Or you could be like a Currency, Larry June, you know what I'm saying? Play that pocket. Maybe you're not as famous and you don't sell as many records as Drake, but you still make a great living. I think it's the same thing with producers. Like if you want to go the $50 a beat route on SoundClick or whatever, you could do that. But I think too, if you want to figure out a way to promote your beats, man, I think getting in with artists like that are on your level. Of course, everybody's gonna say, "I want to get a beat the young boy. I want to get a beat the little baby," but it might be a cat that in your neighborhood or around your area that's got nice little buzz in the neighborhood, or 10,000 followers, or 100,000 views on a video, and that's who you need to tap in with and try to sell those beats.
Yeah, no, that's facts. And that's the cool part about like kind of being at a studio too, is like even if you're like in like the smoke room of a studio, you're going to run into like a bunch of people, whether it's like artists or like even if you're a producer just cooking up at a studio,
Bro,
like
every artist that I met before for the most part, every artist that I met before they blew up, I met while I was working at the studio.
Really?
When I was interning and got a chance to assist on Wayne sessions, Drake and Nicki used to be around. You know what I'm saying? 21 Savage and Kodak Black used to come through Hot Beats religiously. And it was kind of like prior to both of them really becoming who they are today. You know what I'm saying? So just being in the studio, bro, the amount of people you'll kind of see like blossom into superstars is crazy.
What's Wayne's workflow like? I feel like, is it good? Yeah. What's Wayne's workflow like? Because obviously, I feel like people. He has like so many legends about being in the studio. You know what I mean? That like all the flickers are real. That he'll just like sit in the corner till he gets it. Like kind of like Jay-Z or whatever. Like he doesn't even have to spit it to spit the whole verse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. It's definitely different, dog. I can't lie. I think being around those sessions definitely like whipped me into shape. Like it showed me what it was gonna take to be great. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm used to kind of, if we go into the studio, maybe doing like a 4-hour block at this point, you know what I'm saying? We might shoot the shit afterwards, but I was not used to being in the studio fucking 12 to 14 hours. Like, that was a whole different grind.
What was happening in that 12 to 14 hours?
All kind of shit.
Like straight going the whole time?
I mean, one thing about it, you start to realize, like, because these people are so busy, bro, they pretty much live life in the studio. So it's like, shit, he might be making music. His daughter might pull up for a minute. You know what I'm saying? He might go get some food. Shit, he might shoot to the mall, come back. Like, it's so much shit that can happen within that 14 hours. Like, some days are just straight music. Like, hard drive loaded. We just running through features.
Yeah.
You know, other days it might just be a 3-hour smoke session before some shit gets started. Like,
yeah. I have a friend in Chicago. Lil Wayne was supposed to go record there, and he flew his engineer in, and then but he like decided to skateboard instead, so the guy got to like hang out with his engineer all day and stuff, but like they had booked and stuff, but yeah, he would basically, it was that same thing, they like schedule the whole day, but then he can kind of, I mean, obviously he has way more things going on than like a normal person.
Yeah,
you know
and I mean, shit, I was around this, like I said, when like Drake and Nicki first came into the fold. So this was like 10
which is
years
like
ago.
the very like that shit was like the top, like they were at the very top of the game, you know what I mean, like Young Money and all that, like
yeah, bro,
that was that's crazy too, because like we said, you worked with like Don Tripp when he was at the top, you know what I mean, like that really is wild, you know what I mean, like the timing of it all too.
Man, it was crazy just to like.
Did you know it in the moment? You know,
Nah.
No?
I think because I mean at that time this is like Lollipop Lil Wayne, so this is like Drake on comeback season. Like he's not even really known in the States. He's working on what's the first shit he did? He still in Vegas on it.
So Far Gone.
So Far Gone.
Yeah.
He's working on that at the time. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm like. Cause it's crazy. I probably was in more sessions with Drake and 40 than I was with Wayne.
That's
because
crazy.
Diesel, who was the engineer at the time, I think KY mentioned that earlier. Diesel was the engineer, and me and him kind of hit it off because both our first names are Darius. So it was just like a weird bond, you know what I'm saying? But he fucked with me off the top. So he would let me in every once in a while. But Wayne, like, he had so much going on, I couldn't just be in there every day.
Yeah.
40, on the other hand, anytime they would see me, they would let me come in. So I'm kind of seeing like, oh, this kid's nice. But I'm really like, you know, more just blown away about being around the Wayne shit. But looking back, it was like, okay, yeah, Drake was coming for sure.
So since this is like, you know, since I'm an engineer, and obviously like 40 is a legend too in his own right, you know, for being an engineer. What was that like, getting to see him work? Because I feel like some of their shit's like, it feels like almost secretive. You like they're doing something different. You know what I mean?
Bro, it was crazy because, and again, this is early, so I don't know the process now. But 40 was like, and this is just me, that was the first person I ever seen really distinguish the difference between being a beat maker and a producer. Because he was making these beats for Drake, but he was also recording and like guiding him through the whole song.
Like
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like directing,
especially like on the singing records. You know what I'm saying? Like I think early, like I don't really think that was necessarily Drake's most comfortable bag. You know what I mean? But 40 would help him piece that shit together, and that's when I sat back and I was like, okay, this is how you create that bond. This is the difference between being somebody that might get called for a session every once in a while and being a motherfucker that don't went on like a career-long run with the artist. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, because they did sort of develop a sound in that singing. Now everybody sings. You know what I mean?
Exactly, bro.
Which is wild, yeah.
Exactly, bro. But seeing 40 and Drake work, and it's just like, shit, some nights it would just be us three in there.
Damn. How did they work? Like what was the recording style like? Like was he punching in like freestyling, or would they do a lot of takes and stuff?
50-50. You know what I'm saying? 50-50. It would just really depend on the record. You know what I'm saying? Some shit like that nigga would go in. But one thing about Drake though, dog, he's heavily calculated. Like I remember one night he was just sitting on the couch. It was a whole bunch of people in the room. Like Wayne did a song with Keisha Cole, and Drake was in the back of the room, bruh, and he went in the booth, and I mean, shit, I kind of felt like he probably was back there vibing, like he knew where he was going, and he went in and smoked it, bro, in like a few takes, and the whole room was just blown away.
You remember what it was?
Yeah, it's a song called "I'ma Take Your Girl." You can find it on YouTube now.
Damn.
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy. No, that really is wild timing wise. So, then how did you end up like with Kanye and like all these other credits? Like, did you end up teaming like with a label or like publishing or something in between
No,
there?
bro. So that's the craziest thing, man. And it's wild. Like, I feel like I'm 35 now, and I think I'm just getting to that point where I will probably, like, in the next year or so, really start teaming with like a publishing, a label, the whole publishing deal thing, that machine. But man, up until this point, bro, it's just been me, God, and good connections. Like,
That's dope.
basically, whenever I moved out here, like I said earlier, I knew Hot Beats is where Wayne was recording. So I'm like, I gotta go there because I mean, he's the hottest rapper in the country, and it's in Atlanta. Boom, that's where I need to be. And the
Yeah, so you almost planned it like that, right?
uh,
Like you had the like, you basically manifested it though, because like you had the vision and then you like set into action
true,
like
true, yeah,
how to go after it. Like you didn't just say oh he's in Atlanta, I'm here or something. Yeah,
exactly, bro. I knew like, okay, this is where I gotta be. The Ye
that's
thing
dope.
popped off when I started working with Cyhi, so that was kind of the vessel to that. Because like I said, um, I didn't really know in full detail how much he was doing for Kanye. You know what I mean? I just knew he was signing good music. And then when I started engineering for him, especially on a more personal level, that's when he kind of started letting me see what was going on. I'm like, oh, okay. So you're writing this shit. Got you.
That's crazy. Yeah, I feel like there are a lot of smoke and mirrors from the outside of like how things work. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when it comes to splits and all that, like they see the artist like, oh, they just got $1 million advance. They must have $1 million. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and it does not work like that, bro.
Right. But especially with the Kanye shit, that's insane too. So how did that like like what was that whole kind of journey with him, like with Cyhi and stuff?
Um,
Like what was like the specific uh like placements and stuff sort of.
so with Saha, I think I did Ivy League, Black History Project 2, and I want to say I got a couple production credits on No Dope on Sunday. And from that relationship, obviously, I was able to land that Life of Pablo placement as well.
Yeah, no, that's dope. Cause yeah, that's a huge album too. But so during that time, were you worried about publishing or like royalties or anything?
Honestly, bro, like a lot of the credits I got up until that point, a couple of them were production, most of them were engineering. So a lot of times back then, you weren't really getting any publishing as an engineer. So I wasn't really worried about it. I think the Kanye thing was the first time that publishing was really like a big deal. Like, okay, hold up,
Yeah,
this shit is a lot of money, and I need to figure out what's going on.
yeah,
And it's unfortunate because I think for a lot of producers, like we can sit here and talk about the importance of it all day, but I think whenever the situation's really in front of you, I think that's when things change a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen producers like not want to pay a lawyer $600 to protect themselves whenever they're getting a placement and things start moving fast, and it's like, bruh, slow down. You
yeah.
know?
No, that is wild. Uh, did you have to get like a entertainment lawyer or anything or no?
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's dope. Uh, yeah, I had something real good, but I forgot it. But no, that's dope though. So from there, you just kind of, like I mean, you're already like kind of on top of the engineering world at that point. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like from having those different credits, even from like the Wayne or early. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But how do you what's like your goal from there, and even like kind of the future in a way?
Bro, at this point, like I think everything I've been able to do, from the different production credits to engineering to songwriting, like at this point, man, obviously, I'm always down to keep creating, being a creative. That's like my passion. But I think my next challenge is to really take Kreative Villains to the next level. Start signing some artists, start signing some other producers. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a couple engineers. I mean, I already got engineers through the studio, but really more so artists and producers, man. Just really start like putting on that executive hat.
That's dope. Do you what I was gonna say just a second ago was do you think engineers should get royalties?
Oh
like
yeah,
now
I
and
said
stuff?
that earlier. I feel
Yeah.
like shit. The ones that actually like add sauce and contribute to the overall like sound of the record, for sure. I
Yeah.
feel like if you're just one of them engineers that press 3, no,
Yeah.
like, because I mean, I feel like at that point,
Is there a
shit.
gray area there if your mix is bad? Like if you just don't, like is there a gray area in there or something?
I mean, I feel like a lot of times, like when you get to a certain level, like it's not gonna be trash. You know what I'm saying? Like we can
Right.
always fix or repair. I think it just goes back to
Or
what
after a
Leslie
certain
was saying.
time,
Yeah,
yeah.
like how receptive are you as an engineer to constructive criticism? Because sometimes you got to take your ego out of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think if you can do that, bro, like most times you'll be good.
Yeah. No, that's true. But I'd be thinking about it if I had like royalties of like every like if it was normal to pay the engineer, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Then engineers, would have a totally different bag, you know what I mean? For
facts, facts.
and they do contribute to it. I mean like by adding cuts or
But it's
whatever,
like that's something that also happens when you get to artists who aren't really like stressed about publishing. Like I know
Right.
Kanye's engineer Noah, or his old engineer. Noah's not his engineer anymore, but when he was getting publishing on every record.
That's
Like,
dope.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I mean it's because it's Kanye. Like, love it or hate it, everybody's getting credit on the Kanye record. Like, you get
Yeah.
the splits, it might be 12 people on the song, and you don't know any of these people.
Yeah. No, that's tight. But yeah, well, I guess we don't gotta keep going forever and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
But I appreciate you coming, letting us talk and everything.
Oh, no
It's been
problem, bro. Shit,
it's
I
dope.
appreciate you having me, bro.
If you had to like give advice to an artist, you know what I mean, like an artist that they're making dope music, but nothing's happening. What would you like prescribe?
For an artist, I think for an artist, man, I would really say hone in on the market in your town, create that buzz there, and start doing shows in your city. Cause I feel like if you turn your shit up and you can show people, hey, I can consistently bring out 100, 200 people. You know what I mean? Like, you'll start bringing interest to you, bro.
Yeah. And if you can bring out 100 people, you're making money.
You're making money,
Yeah.
and then you can start taking that show on the road. Like,
Yeah.
if you're from, let's say, South Carolina, let your whole 100 people that normally show up, let them know, hey, we going to Atlanta this weekend for A3C. You know what I mean? And now, outside of the people you might gain in Atlanta, you already got your core followers coming with you. So I think even though a lot of it seems like it has to be done on social media, I do think you still got to go grassroots and like build that core fan base, bro, because I think that's where it's at nowadays. Like, even when you look at a Currency, you know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't really have to appeal to the masses because he has his core fan base. They're going to listen to every single drop. He can release 1,000 mixtapes a year, 1,000 albums a year, and they're going to be there for it.
No, that's true.
You know?
Yeah. What do you think helps you get that though?
I think consistency, man. Doing this shit even on the days you don't want to do it, bro. Even on the times you don't feel like pulling up. Even when it's 6
That's
people in the
facts.
crowd, like.
Yeah, and that's what I've seen the most too from like especially like major artists, like even the ones that make it look easy, they're working hard as fuck.
Yeah,
you know,
bro.
like the grind of it and like just their organization and stuff. Like you can't be like crazy, you know what I mean, and like be doing shit daily, you know.
And that's what people don't understand. Like, I kind of had to learn that about myself. Like, you can't want to, for a lot of artists, like, you can't want to be Cardi B and not want to work every day.
Right.
Because like you said, Cardi B is a machine. Like, there's a whole machine that relies on Cardi B to move, maneuver. Like, you know what I'm saying? People, like, whole livelihoods depend on Cardi B.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're an indie artist, bro, you don't really have the luxury to just not be doing shit every day.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? If you a female or male artist, you need to be in the gym every day, getting your look right. You know what I'm saying? Writing a song, like doing something that's contributing to like your overall goal as an artist, man. Because when you get to that level, shit, you might be doing all 5 of those things in one day.
Yeah, literally.
Hitting the gym, hitting the studio, you know what I'm saying?
Hitting
Going to a show,
multiple studios and like doing all kinds of shit. Yeah. No, yeah, but that's what's dope though, and that's when you do treat it like a business too, because it is like entrepreneurial, you know, like even though it's art and stuff, and like even as an artist, you know, like, but it's a straight business to be able to do it professionally.
It really is, bro. And I think, you know, that's another eye opener. Like when because I always compare music to like a play. Like, a lot of people are in the audience, but when you get on the other side of the curtain, you really see what the fuck is going on. And when I got on the other side, that's when I started understanding, like, okay, bro, it's big business going on, and you gotta like really learn how that shit moves.
Yeah, and it's not just an accident just because it looks like it on stage.
No,
you know what I mean?
bro, everything is calculated. You know what I'm saying? Like, all this shit is well calculated. They may make it look easy, but there are meetings that go on behind the scenes for months trying to figure out a rollout and the cover art and why we should do this over that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, bro, it's a lot that goes into it, man. And that's why I feel like going back to what we were just saying, like, though, like, if you're an indie artist, bro, you got to keep your foot on the gas.
Yeah. And even, like, that's where the content comes in, too. Because, like, the more you post, the more you'll be seen. You know what I mean? Like, Instagram doesn't want to show somebody that only posts once a month, you know?
Facts.
Yeah. But no, we appreciate your time for sure. It's been dope. And I hope you do take over with the Creative Villains, you know?
Appreciate that, man. That's the goal, bro.
And the studio here is fire. If you need studio time in Atlanta, you know?
Tap in, bro.
Heck
Hit me up.
All right, so I got one final question for. Wait, no, go ahead. Say what.
No, I was just about to say, tap in with me. My Instagram is at 3D_villains, and the studio's Instagram is at Creative Corner Studios.
Yep. All right, so the final question that we kind of ask everybody: how you what?
How
How you what?
How do I what?